Every generation inherits a moment that asks for courage. Gratitude can help us face this moment with clarity and hope instead of despair. Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. When I was young, my mother told me something that landed deep in my psyche. You can't be jealous of someone unless you'd trade entire lives with them. In other words, you don't get to pick the parts you want, like you're ordering from an a la carte menu. Every life comes as a whole, good and bad, struggles and rejoicing. That message steadies me in times I focus too much on what feels hard and overlook the rest. Later, I realized the same thing is true of the era in which we live. You don't get to wish for the good old days without living the pandemics, the wars, the losses, the limitations, all the things we conveniently gloss over in nostalgia. And I've spent time nostalgic. As a child, I read and reread historical fiction, especially any time where women wore long dresses, something that enchanted me. And I loved time travel stories. My tender young romantic heart swooned over the idea of true love carrying someone back through time. But even then, my practical side would whisper questions. Would I want to live in a time before tampons and without indoor plumbing? As I grew into a history buff, the questions deepened. Do I really want to live through the Great War, the Spanish flu, listen to radio reports from 1930s Europe, knowing what was to unfold? Romanticizing the past becomes harder when we remember the people who lived through it didn't get to skip the suffering. So as much as one may appreciate Victorian fashion, ragtime music, or the golden age of Hollywood musicals, we can't wish ourselves into a perfect time period. The past had its dangers and upheavals, and every single moment in time, including ours, has its own. In our gratitude practice every morning, my husband and I intentionally name the miracles of our modern life. Water flows freely into our house. Heat and air conditioning, computers and Wi-Fi, the ability to get information nearly instantly, our neighborhood, our neighbors, and our community. And yes, we're grateful for indoor plumbing. No walks to the outhouse through the snow. No splinters on our behinds. We humans have an inclination to curate reality, probably because it feels easier than facing what's right in front of us. But curated lives aren't real lives. We imagine the past without its dangers, the future without the things we would lose from the present, and our own lives without their complexities. That fantasy pulls us out of authenticity. But clear-eyed vision and gratitude pull us back into something real. And that's what I keep coming back to. The truth that every moment we romanticize, every future we fear, and every life we compare ours to is much larger than we can see. None of them can be ordered a la carte. Gratitude, for me, isn't about listing the good things so I can feel upbeat. It's about seeing the whole picture clearly. It's a practice of saying, this is the life I get to live in this moment in history, with its gifts and its griefs, its ease and its ache. And I choose to live fully in it. When we look at the totality of our lives now, there's so much that sustains us. Not just technology and comfort, but people. The ones who repair the water lines and grow our food. The neighbor who checks in. The nurse who shows up for another shift. Gratitude pulls those truths into focus. It reminds us that no era is perfect, but every era is held together by ordinary people doing small, essential things. Gratitude isn't a soft emotion, some mealy-mouthed form of spirituality. It's courageous. Gratitude asks us to stop reaching backward or forward for a life that isn't ours, and instead inhabit the life that's here, this imperfect, miraculous, unfolding life that is ours and ours alone. As we go into a period of Thanksgiving, remember that we live in a world full of comforts we didn't invent, layered with challenges we didn't choose. This has always been true in 1918, 1958, today, and into the future. And if every era has its challenges, then our own is no exception. We don't get to opt out of the moment we've been given. We don't get to send ourselves back to a simpler time or leap ahead to a kinder one. We're here, now, in a moment where trust is fraying, where fear is easily manipulated, and where people retreat into certainty or hopelessness. Gratitude, real gratitude, helps us see clearly enough to respond with integrity instead of despair. Gratitude isn't passive. It doesn't tell us to sit down and smile. It steadies us so we can stay awake. It reminds us what's worth protecting, what's worth tending, and what's worth repairing. It keeps us from handing our power away to fear or nostalgia or cynicism. Each time period had ordinary people who held the line when the ground was shifting. People who kept the home fires burning. People who educated and encouraged. People who saw the fragility of their time and did what they could to strengthen the people and the systems around them. Not necessarily through grand action, but through everyday choices rooted in clarity and care. Choices rooted in love. Every generation inherits a moment that asks for courage, steadiness, and clarity. This is our moment. Gratitude opens our eyes to what is still good, what's still possible, and what's still worth fighting for. Not because everything is perfect, but because we can see more of the whole picture. We can appreciate what's working while still seeing what needs to be repaired. So this Thanksgiving, as we give thanks for the warmth in our homes and the food on our tables, may we also give thanks for the capacity to stay awake in our time, to hold its heaviness without letting it hollow us out, to notice who needs us, to choose the small, steady actions that weave a little more care into the world. Gratitude doesn't make us passive. Gratitude prepares us to act, rooted, hopeful, and clear-eyed in the only era we get to call home. My mother was right. We don't get to choose only the beautiful parts. But we can choose how we respond. I choose to respond with love. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.